Hey, it's the Klingon Bird of Prey. That's from the other movie. Oh, and it's the Enterprise A, the Constitution class. That's from the other show and the other movies. And, oh my God, it's Defiant. That's from the other spin-off show of this show. And then it's the Voyager. That's from the other show. That's also a spin-off. Oh, and it's Data and Lore and Moriarty and the Crow, and they're singing Pop Goes the Weasel. That's from the show that's based off of this show. Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Star Trek Picard Season 3 Episode 6 Bounty. This video is part of a series of videos where I review episodes of Star Trek Picard. So I have to start with the spoiler warning for Picard Season 3 Episode 6. If you have not seen this episode, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So, I don't have much time, so let me just get to the point. I think this episode was a step down from last week's. Last week's episode with Ro Laren and setting up the Changeling threat, I think, was really, really high stakes. Where this, it seemed to rely on member berries. It's all about member berries. Now, granted, the show, especially this season, has been all about, oh, look at this character from Next Gen. Oh, look at that character from Next Gen. But for the most part, I will say it felt like it was part of the story and it was necessary for the story. It didn't feel a gratuitous sort of nostalgia get. There have been some, to be fair, in the first 5 episodes that I thought did kind of feel that way, but not as much as this episode. This episode was just overwhelmed. Like, there's no point in showing us Voyager, Defiant, and fucking the Enterprise D and a goddamn Bird of Prey from Star Trek 4, the one with the whales. There's no plot purpose, no story purpose whatsoever other than, ooh, look at those, you remember those? And I am not here for that. And also, I think the Moriarty thing is something that they teased in the trailer, which I kind of wish they didn't. And I feel like that was just like a waste of time too. It's just because it wasn't really Moriarty. It's just the Data, whatever you want to call him, bringing up imagery that was triggered by seeing Riker. So, I mean, that's fine, I guess. Maybe I wouldn't have any issue with this if they didn't show Moriarty in the trailer and make such a big deal like, it's Moriarty, but, you know, it's like a 2-second cameo that's not even Moriarty, it's just like his image. So, yeah, I feel kind of gypped. And then, oh, the Crow, remember the Crow from that one episode when he was dreaming then. And then, yeah, okay, so if I remember correctly, they said we get to bring back the what's-his-face soon, Aaron soon, or whoever it was. Yeah, sure, absolutely, let's definitely bring that guy back. I mean, the show needs to acknowledge he exists, but yeah, I wish they could just wipe that from canon. That was awful. But anyway, yeah, so at least he's dead now, but he left they showed his image saying that he tried to recreate another Data because now that this synth ban has been lifted, which makes sense, I'll grant you. So he combined the memories of B4, Lore, Data, and I believe they said Lal as well. And so this is interesting, and this is an interesting way to bring back Brent Spiner. I honestly would much rather Brent Spiner come back playing this amalgamation that's kind of Data but kind of isn't, rather than Aaron Soon or whatever his name was, because, yeah, goddamn that. and maybe they should bring back another, like, Soon. Like, enough of that already. So, and it does kind of cheapen the Data's death at the end of Picard Season 1, but, you know, it's not the same person. It's a different thing, which is, honestly, I think this is the way they should have went from the beginning, and not, rather than have that storyline they had with Data's consciousness or whatever in Season 1. This is what I wanted. I wanted them to revive the parts of Data that was kept him before, and season 1 was obviously pushing away from that, but now they decided to do it. Oh, and they decided to make him look older because it's more dignified. It has nothing to do with the fact that Brent Spiner has aged. But anyway, whatever, that's fine. I don't have issues with any of that, but I don't... Vatic, I believe her name is, the big villain. I really, at this point in the stage, I really don't think she's ever going to be anything more than a two-dimensional mustache twirly villain. Now, could be wrong. Maybe in the last 4 episodes they will flesh this character out and make her look more interesting. But I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. And at the moment, I would compare her a lot to Nero from Star Trek 2009 as like trying to be all edgy and like smoking a cigar and be like, oh, look at me, remember me? It's just dumb, and I don't like it. I don't like this villain. I'm sorry to say. Some people are having fun with Amanda Plummer hamming it up, and I agree she's a great actress, but this is just a two-dimensional throwaway villain. Now, it does seem to imply, this episode does seem to imply she's a changeling, which is interesting. And I hope they do get more into the history of the changeling. But then, the cliffhanger we get with, they captured Riker and they're going to use Troy to get him to do what? So the terrorists can get Riker to do what they want. They captured his wife. What is this, 24? Oh, great. It's the plot that 24 did like 60 times. Let's do that again, but with Riker and Troy. That's exactly what I want to see. Anyway, so I'm not that... I'm sorry, I'm sure I haven't watched anyone's review reaction to this episode yet, but judging by the bulk of all the other reviews and people who have seen all 6 episodes, including this, and in fact, I've heard there were some who even seen the entire season, I'm sure they're going to think this is the best thing ever, and they're going to love it, and everyone's going to think I'm a negative jerk for coming on and being more negative about it, but I'm sorry, this is my natural reaction to it. I like the member berries they do in Lower Decks. Like, some people rail against them, which I actually disagree with. For the most part, they work, mainly because it's a comedy show, and mainly because they don't overdo it. And most of the time when they do have member berries, it enhances the comedy. This is not a comedy show. This is a serious action sci-fi drama, and they're definitely making an action suspense. Definitely this season leans that way. And so all these member berries have no place in a serious suspense action thriller. It's not a comedy. So I have less tolerance for it than I would had this been Lower Decks. Just to be clear. Anyway, so the relation, I kind of found Geordi LaForge's character somewhat interesting. I like his sort of balancing, does he help his old friend or does he want to protect his family? I think that was a good human character story that really made sense. But I don't know, something about the way the interaction between Sydney, I believe her name is, Crash LaForge, and Geordi, I found too rushed. Like, I get what they were going for, but it didn't seem complete. I wasn't totally buying it. And this character overall, I don't think was really that fleshed out. A lot of people were like, oh, this bridge crew in the Titan A was great. They fleshed them out even better than the Discovery ones after 4 seasons. I don't think so. I honestly think they're just as fleshed out as the Discovery ones, in my humble opinion. But anyway, so yeah, and then the whole, and I don't know, the banter between Worf and Riker, I actually didn't really care for. I didn't hate it. I was like, oh, this is dumb, but it's like, I don't know. I didn't really find it funny. I didn't really find, oh, this is great. Like for example, like the interactions between Worf and Raffi so far, I was like, oh, this is great. Like the humor in there was great, and the chemistry, you felt it, but here, wasn't feeling it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think this episode's the downgrade from the previous ones. But again, I'm sure, I don't know yet. I haven't watched anyone else's review, but I'm sure everyone is going, and their mother is going to disagree with me, and I'm a negative Nancy, but so be it. But that being said, I didn't totally hate this episode, obviously. I mean, I do like the plot with the changelings. I'm still really interested to see where they go with it. I think Shaw was kind of downgraded in this episode, and didn't really have much to do. Maybe he'll have more to do. And like the whole thing of geeking out with the Forge scene, I thought was kind of dumb. I am curious to see where. I like the idea of this data amalgamation, so I am gonna give them some leeway with this, and I'm curious to see where they're going. As I said, I think this is what they should have done from the beginning. So I'm excited about it, and I'm still excited about this whole changeling storyline and what they're getting to. But what the hell is the deal with the big weapon that they had being Jean-Luc Picard's corpse? Like, I don't know. As soon as they asked Data what was stolen, and he kept saying Jean-Luc Picard, like I was like, yeah, that's what he's saying. He was saying Jean-Luc Picard was stolen. That's why he keeps saying Jean-Luc Picard. Like, I got that right away. Where the characters, it took them a while to latch on. But I don't know, like, they haven't revealed yet what that means. So I guess I shouldn't prejudge. Maybe this is gonna be awesome, or maybe I will be interested in, defining what the hell that means. Oh, and by the way, the whole Jack Crusher thing, there's big theories out there that he was a changeling, and I said last week I really hope he isn't. Now they're kind of leaning away from him being a changeling and just saying his visions were part of the Irmatic syndrome that he inherited from Picard. Picard didn't have visions of him going around killing other Starfleet officers, because that makes it hard for me to believe that that's all it is. It's just the syndrome and nothing else. I think there might be more to it, and if there's not more to it, and if that's all it is, then I think that's kind of misleading and dumb writing, personally. But, again, all this is dependent on what they do in the future. So I'm not judging yet, but they got some holes to dig themselves out of. That's all I'm saying. And as they come up with really good resolutions to these, and then I'll be on board. I'm open to that. I'm not closed-minded and saying this season sucks. I don't think it sucks. In fact, I probably would be more positive if everyone else wasn't so goddamn positive and saying it was the best thing since sliced bread, which I don't think it is. But it's still good. Don't get me wrong. I think this could be, this probably, most likely, will be the best season of Star Trek Picard, but that is not a high bar. But at the very least, I think it will clear that bar. Now, will it clear much further? That remains to be determined. We shall see. As I said, I don't think this episode was a step in the right direction. Last week's episode was. This one, a bit less so. So, my rating for Bounty out of 10, I'm going to give this a 6. Good. Yeah, it was decent. There were things about it that annoyed, like all the member berries were totally unnecessary. The Riker plot, I don't know. Not on board, but there's still some overriding threads, like seeing the crew together again, seeing Geordi have to decide between his family and his old crew, and the Data idea I think is a really interesting idea, so I'm willing to go with this, and I'm still really interested in the changeling plot, so we'll see where everything goes. So I'm still hooked. I'm still entertained. This wasn't one of the better episodes. I will say that. So that is it for my review of the latest episode of Picard. I shall be back next week and every week thereafter to continue to review Picard. So be sure to check out my channel for that. Also check out my channel as I cover many other Star Trek videos, covering Star Trek the original series at the moment, and many other videos and many other shows as well. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that, and thanks a lot for watching.